This 15-year-old TikTok star had a stalker show up to her house with a shotgun.
Nice chain, red bone mains, chain swing, light pretty.
Hey, what's up guys, welcome back to the studio. Before we start this video off, let me give myself a quick plug. Thank you guys for stopping by. If at any point you guys do enjoy this video, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button, hitting a like button, and maybe even commenting as well. Would help out a lot, and thank you guys so much to 1,300 subscribers. With that being said, let's go ahead and hop into this video. This 15-year-old TikTok star created her TikTok account back in 2020. All she really did was dance and lip sync to videos like a lot of other people do on the platform. Whatever she was doing it right, because towards the end of the pandemic, she ended up having 1.2 million followers on TikTok. You're probably asking who the TikTok star is that had this horrible thing happen to her. Well, this TikTok star goes by the name of Ava Majury. I could be pronouncing that completely wrong, but I'll show you guys a photo of her right now. Like I said earlier, Ava accumulated about 1.2 million followers on her TikTok, and then on her Instagram, she's about 300,000 followers on there. But with these thousands and thousands of fans, she is bound to have one mega fan, or at this point, stalker. Now, I feel like plenty of celebrities and influencers all have stalkers, but none would ever actually go through with what this guy ended up doing. 18-year-old Eric Rohan Justin decided it was a really good idea to show up to Ava's house with a loaded shotgun. Now, it wasn't like this guy just showed up out of the blue. I don't mean he was invited to her house, but they knew of Eric. They didn't know him in a personal way, but Ava did notice him constantly commenting on all her posts on TikTok and on Instagram, and constantly being messaged by him as well over on Instagram. Eric was actually able to come in contact with some of her old friends and would actually pay them money for photos of her, and eventually even got her phone number. The reasoning why her friends ended up selling all this information and giving him her phone number is because apparently they felt as if Ava left them because she was getting too famous. Now, I'm not sure exactly how those kids are going to be affected throughout all of this. I would assume some legal action is going to be taken against them, considering that the information they gave to this guy almost just got this girl killed. But from there on, you would think that maybe if one of your fans got your phone number without your consent, you would probably block them and even change your number. Well, that's not exactly what Ava or her parents decided to do. One day, Eric ended up messaging Ava and asked her for photos of herself, and he would pay her $300 from. Well, Ava ended up talking to her parents about it, and somehow they thought this was perfectly fine. Ava and her family did say that it wasn't any photos of her body, that it was only her face, and that she thought that Eric was only paying for her pretty smile because that's what all her content is around. Now, that is a very innocent way of thinking, but her parents should have known better. Now, I'm not trying to get them in trouble because they've, obviously been through a whole lot of shit, but I feel like as a parent, you would probably naturally would be extremely protective of your kids, especially when one of them is only 15 years old and has millions of people watching her on the internet. At this point, when Eric asked for those photos in exchange for $300, Eric was 18 years old, and Ava at the time was only 14 or 15 years old. As a parent, do you not just stop and ask these questions? Why do you want these photos? What are you gonna do with photos that are already on the internet, and why do you want to pay $300 from? You're 18 years old and you're asking for a 15-year-old's photos in exchange for money? Does none of this just sound weird to you at all? In the parents' defense, they did say that Ava rakes in thousands of dollars on brand deals and other things like that, so they didn't see anything different from this. So I guess let's give them the benefit of the doubt, but you need to be so much more careful with your kids, especially when they're so young and have such a huge following on the internet. You're a grown adult and you should know at this point that there without a doubt is weirdos on the internet, and more than likely those 1.2 million people that are following your daughter, there is bound to be one weirdo amongst all of them. Well, finally they realized it was a bit weird when he began to ask, and his words not mine, booty pics, and finally the parents realized that this guy is a bit weird and we should probably block him from talking to our daughter. So that's exactly what they did. They ended up blocking him. Well, obviously, as you guys could tell from the story, Eric isn't just any other follower that would just give up at this point. He began to send her money through Venmo, Cash App, and other ways to send money, and in the descriptions he would ask her to unblock him. In total, this guy sent her about $600 in hopes that she would unblock him, but it was unsuccessful. After this guy continued to send Ava a bunch of money through Venmo, Ava's dad, Rob, who was an ex-cop, decided to text Eric himself, telling him that he needed to stop messaging her and asking for these inappropriate pictures. Well, apparently that really pissed off Eric, because after that he began to threaten the dad, and then even went back to Ava's old classmate classmates and began telling them that he was gonna plan an attack on her. They asked Eric if he had access to a gun, and he just said, "I'm pretty sure I could breach their house with a shotgun." And then on July 10th, 2020, that's exactly what he did. He showed up to Ava's house, shot a couple rounds at her door, and then Rob, Ava's dad, began to chase Eric because apparently his gun ended up getting jammed. Once Eric ran away, Rob ran back into his house, his wife called the police, and Rob actually went to go grab his shotgun. At this point, Rob is camping at the door now just in case if Eric decides to show back up, and he did. He came back for a second time. Before Eric could pull the trigger, Rob was the first to do so. With this one shot that Rob delivered, it ended up being fatal. Eric ended up passing away. After everything was said and done, Rob, Ava's dad, ended up getting no charges because it was obviously self-defense, and for the most part they've been able to recover pretty well. One thing that I still just find extremely weird and that I feel like is being brushed over so easily is, like I said, why would these parents ever agree to selling photos of their daughter to a legal adult at this point? Your daughter at most at the time was 15 years old and the guy was 18. Especially considering if you're an ex-cop, you would probably know a thing or two about pedos. I think this entire story is just crazy. I feel like there are a lot of things that still need to be addressed, not to the public but legally, because in nowhere does it say that these ex-friends or, you know, these students that Ava used to be friends with, do they ever say that they were legally charged with anything or if anything even happened to them. They knew that this guy was planning an attack. Whether if they believed it was going to happen or not, they probably should have said something, but they didn't, and well, the worst happened. And then for Ava's parents, how could you sell your daughter's photos to a stranger on the internet for money? I get your daughter gets brand deals and makes a whole bunch of money from that, but isn't it a little bit different when a company messages your daughter than if an 18-year-old guy messaged your daughter for photos of her that are already on the internet, all right, that could be accessed by anybody, but for some reason wants to pay your daughter $300 from? At the end of the day, thankfully Ava is safe and her entire family is safe as well. Thankfully the dad did protect them, but so many stupid things were done by the parents and ex-friends that I kind of just want to know if anything ever really happened to any of them. Stay safe on the internet, guys. If a weirdo messages you offering you $300 for photos you already have posted online, maybe block them, especially if you're underage. But until the next video, you guys, peace.